Let's explore these mysteries together in today's video. Strange phenomena in medicine and biology. The history of modern medicine and biology has recorded numerous cases that defy conventional explanations about the relationship between the human body and the living world around us. There have been illnesses so perplexing that specialists were forced to rethink the limits of human adaptation, raising fundamental questions about our capacity to survive in complex natural environments. In many tropical regions, cases of infestation by spiders or tiny insects inside the human body have caused a stir, especially when travelers returned home and discovered small wounds that served as entry points for these creatures to invade soft tissues and survive within the abdomen or other hidden cavities. Removing such parasites usually requires delicate surgery and lengthy medical observation to prevent infection or extensive damage to internal organs. Alongside arthropod parasites, the phenomenon of massive tapeworm infection within the digestive system has long been one of medicine's most enduring challenges. There have been cases where tapeworms measuring several feet in length were found inside the intestines of adults, often the result of eating undercooked meat or unsanitary food. Tapeworms thrive by directly absorbing nutrients from their hosts, leading to prolonged nutritional deficiencies and severe digestive disturbances. Patients often face months of treatment before the parasite is completely expelled from the body. In recent years, medical literature has increasingly documented cases of brain infections caused by parasitic larvae found in contaminated food sources. Once inside the body, these larvae travel through the bloodstream to the brain, where they trigger inflammation and form cysts or small tumors in neural tissue. This can result in seizures and a range of motor disorders. Treating these conditions typically involves surgical intervention paired with targeted medication, yet the risk of lasting neurological complications remains a serious concern after each operation. Among young children, there have been instances where sea snails were found lodged in soft tissue, such as within the knee, illustrating how environmental organisms can invade through surface wounds and remain hidden until swelling and inflammation draw medical attention. The successful removal of such creatures and the recovery of affected tissue depend heavily on early diagnosis and prompt frontline medical care. But it doesn't end at the surface. There have even been cases where parasites, and sometimes even lice, manage to enter the urinary tract through natural openings, migrating up into the bladder and causing chronic pain and persistent infection. Incredibly, small fish or soil mites have sometimes traveled against the flow of water or followed the daily routines of people living near ponds and lakes, entering some of the least expected cavities of the body and resulting in severe infestations with complex complications. Some particularly unusual cases have involved patients resorting to folk remedies, such as inserting live eels into the rectum to treat constipation. The consequences can be dire. These creatures have burrowed into the abdomen, perforated the intestines, or even caused life-threatening sepsis. Medical reports have repeatedly highlighted the grave dangers of such unscientific practices, warning the public about the risks of unsupervised interventions on the human body without proper medical oversight. The Chanquillo Observatory in Peru. Set in the arid coastal highlands of Peru, the archaeological site of Chanquillo stands out with its striking array of 13 stone towers stretched across a series of neighboring hills. This is one of South America's oldest and most unique ancient structures, dating back more than 2,000 years. The towers were not arranged at random. Instead, they were built in a straight line aligned with the east-west horizon. By watching the sunrise or sunset from two fixed points at either end of the row, people in antiquity could pinpoint the sun's exact position at different times of the year. This allowed them to mark the dates of the solstices and equinoxes, as well as the changing of the seasons, dividing the year into distinct phases for agriculture and community rituals. The mechanism at work in Chanquillo demonstrates the advanced astronomical observation and mathematical thinking achieved by ancient Peruvian civilization. The choice of each tower's location and the spacing between them, along with the alignment with the sun's apparent movement across the sky, all show the results of careful calculation refined over generations. Many researchers have concluded that this system acted as a kind of visual calendar, making it possible to forecast the growing seasons and coordinate social life in tune with natural cycles. What makes Chanquillo so remarkable is the continuity and completeness of its record of celestial motion. Unlike more famous observatories, such as Stonehenge in Europe, which mark only a few key points in the year, Chankilo could track the sun's shifting position across the entire 365-day cycle. This not only reveals a deep awareness of the cosmos, but also reflects a complex social organization in which astronomical knowledge played a central role in agricultural control and the preservation of cultural identity. To this day, Chankilo is regarded as the oldest astronomical observatory in the Americas. The achievement of its builders continues to inspire scientists and architects studying the relationship between humans and nature. Through the combination of empirical observation and religious belief, Chankilo clearly displays an out-of-its-time creativity and stands as living proof of scientific advancement in pre-Columbian civilizations. The fate of the snow cruiser in Antarctica. In the late 1930s, as the race to explore Antarctica grew ever more intense, the United States poured its resources into building a colossal new machine called the snow cruiser. This specialized vehicle, nearly 55 feet long and weighing up to 34 tons, was equipped with the most advanced technology of its era: height, adjustable wheels, an insulated living compartment, a powerful engine, and modern radio equipment. The snow cruiser was meant to serve as a mobile fortress, enabling its crew to conquer the unforgiving Antarctic landscape from frozen, pathless terrain to stretches of land never before explored. The expedition began with high hopes. Teams of engineers and explorers hauled the machine over thousands of miles of American highways, then shipped it by sea to Antarctica, a journey that took many weeks. But as soon as the snow cruiser set down on the ice, it ran into a cascade of unexpected problems. Its huge wheels bogged down in soft snow, and the engine kept failing in temperatures below -40 degrees Celsius. Advanced engineering proved powerless against the raw forces of the Antarctic. Before long, plans to use the snow cruiser as a roving research station had to be abandoned. The expedition switched to using it as a temporary base, rather than the all-terrain vehicle they had once envisioned. When World War II broke out, the entire project was abruptly cancelled, and the snow cruiser was left behind near Little America 3 station. From that moment, the vehicle's disappearance became the subject of a host of enduring mysteries. Years after the war, survey teams found the snow cruiser preserved almost perfectly under layers of ice, thanks to the bitter cold. Yet by the late 1950s and early 1960s, its traces had vanished from the maps. Some theorized that the snow cruiser drifted out to sea atop an iceberg and eventually sank to the bottom of the Ross Sea, possibly still intact on the ocean floor. Others speculated that the Soviets secretly recovered it during the Cold War, hoping to study its technology or use it for military purposes, but no solid evidence has ever been found. The snow cruiser stands as a symbol of humanity's ambition to conquer remote frontiers and, at the same time, a reminder of technology's limits in the face of natural power. In the history of Antarctic exploration, the mysterious fate of this vehicle remains an unsolved question, captivating scientists and lovers of unsolved mysteries alike to this day. The technological genius of Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci is remembered not only as a great painter, but also as an inventor far ahead of his time. His designs reveal an engineering mindset that pushed far beyond the knowledge of the 15th and 16th centuries, focusing on practical problem-solving through fundamental physical principles, yet always seeking maximum efficiency and creativity. Leonardo's manuscripts contain a series of mechanical ideas, many of which were not realized until centuries after his death. Among his most notable inventions was a column-lifting machine, based on the principle of the screw combined with lever mechanics. With just a single operator, a massive stone column could be hoisted and moved, thanks to a screw mechanism and a pulley system that distributed force evenly and minimized human effort. The base of the machine was fitted with wheels for easy maneuvering around a building site. Leonardo also developed designs for large gripping tongs, which used the weight of the object itself to strengthen their hold, allowing for the safe and stable transport of heavy materials. He was also famous for a portable, self-supporting bridge that could be assembled by a small team. The bridge's structure relied on the weight and friction between wooden beams to hold itself steady, without the need for glue or nails. Thanks to this flexibility, the bridge was ideal for military use, allowing armies to quickly cross rivers and then dismantle the structure afterward. In the field of aerodynamics, Leonardo sketched numerous flying machines, most famously his prototype helicopter, an aerial screw that relied on the twisting force generated by spiral blades. Though he lacked the technology to bring these designs to life in his own era, his drawings demonstrated a deep understanding of fluid dynamics and a talent for predicting the practical applications of natural physical laws. Leonardo's inventions reflect his philosophy that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication in engineering design. He always prioritized solutions that harnessed natural forces, minimized unnecessary details, and emphasized portability and reusability. Leonardo's mechanical ideas were rooted in the realities of labor and construction, but they also paved the way for modern engineering, proving the power of creativity when grounded in solid science. The story of Sister Magdalena. The story of Sister Magdalena de la Cruz is a striking example of the complexity of extreme religious phenomena, and it highlights the limits of faith, as well as the role of holy women in the history of 16th century Spanish Christianity. Born in 1487 in Andalusia, Magdalena drew the community's attention from an early age with her mystical experiences, visions, healing abilities, and other events said to be supernatural and linked to prayer. These religious episodes soon came under the scrutiny of the Church, especially after she began to practice self-mortification as punishment for what she considered her own excessive beauty, an act that once left Magdalena in a life-threatening condition. As she grew older, Magdalena continued to fascinate those around her with predictions of the future and religious experiences that defied ordinary understanding. The climax came when she proclaimed herself to be pregnant while still a virgin, giving birth on Christmas Eve while maintaining strict periods of fasting. These miracles led people to regard her as a living saint, and she quickly rose to become abbess of her convent and a figure of devotion for many. Yet her fame also attracted suspicion from both the Church and the public. In the early 1540s, the Spanish Inquisition launched a formal investigation uncovering many irregularities in her miracles and behavior. The trial concluded that Magdalena had made a pact with the devil at the age of 12, and that many of her mystical experiences were actually the result of fraud or mental instability. After her sentencing, Magdalena was condemned to life imprisonment, spending her final years in penance and continually pleading for the Church's forgiveness. Historical records state that she died in profound contrition, leaving behind a controversial legacy that blurred the boundaries between religious devotion and the supernatural in early modern Europe. Her case also reflects the Church's determination to control unorthodox religious phenomena while raising questions about the difference between genuine faith and superstition, and about the interplay between personal experience and institutional power in medieval society. Churches and mosques. The Umayyad Mosque. The Umayyad Mosque in Damascus stands as one of the Middle East's most iconic religious structures, a living reflection of the region's ongoing history of cultural convergence and conflict among great civilizations. The very ground on which this mosque was built has served as a place of worship for centuries, each era leaving its distinct mark shaped by different cultures and faiths. In its earliest days, the site was home to a temple dedicated to Jupiter, the supreme deity of ancient Roman religion. When the Roman Empire adopted Christianity, the temple was converted into a church honoring Saint John the Baptist. This transformation paralleled Christianity's spread across the Mediterranean and the Middle East, turning religious architecture into a tool for spreading faith and asserting political power. By the 7th century, following the Arab-Muslim conquest of Damascus, the area entered a new chapter. Under the Umayyad dynasty, the church was transformed into a mosque, signaling a major shift in power and establishing Islam's new role in the region. The Umayyads launched a massive reconstruction, aiming not only to assert Islamic prestige, but also to compete with major Christian landmarks like the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. The rebuilding process brought with it new religious legends, adding to the site's aura and drawing in the faithful. One prominent story tells of the discovery of Saint John the Baptist's skull beneath the old church foundations, a powerful symbol linking the Christian past to the Islamic present. The mosque is also the burial site of key historical figures such as Saladin, the famed leader of the resistance against the Crusades, further cementing its symbolic status. The conversion from pagan temple to Christian church to Islamic mosque at the Umayyad Mosque illustrates the Middle East's constant historical transformation. Each layer of heritage allows archaeologists and historians to trace the formation of urban identity and the use of sacred space as a means of either reconciling or asserting religious dominance within a diverse society. The light bulb of ancient Egypt. The reliefs at the Temple of Hathor in Dendera have long fueled heated debates among archaeologists and historians of ancient Egyptian technology. The most famous image on these temple walls depicts an elongated object resembling a modern light bulb, with a coiled serpent inside. This structure is even shown connected to something that looks like a cable or wire leading to a possible energy source, raising the tantalizing question of whether the ancient Egyptians might have discovered artificial lighting. Classical archaeology generally interprets the relief as mythological symbolism. In this view, the serpent inside the bulb represents the snake deity Seta emerging from a lotus flower. The undulating lines surrounding the snake are said to be the god's radiance, while the bulb itself is a metaphor for the underworld or the womb of the sky goddess Nut, where the sun is reborn each dawn. However, some dissenting voices point out that the bulb shape is remarkably similar to modern cathode ray tubes or vacuum light bulbs. Several details in the relief, such as the wire or energy source, fuel speculation that the ancient Egyptians may have accessed some advanced lighting technology or, at the very least, understood principles of luminescence that would only be rediscovered thousands of years later. No physical evidence of real light bulbs has ever been found in any Egyptian excavation. Yet the existence of these reliefs, along with the discovery that deep tombs were decorated in total darkness with no clear traces of oil, lamp, soot, continues to drive theories of special lighting technology or the use of unknown reflective materials. In reality, the Dendera light debate highlights just how blurred the line can be between mythological symbolism and the possibility of ancient technology. This ongoing mystery remains a magnet for scholars and researchers worldwide, opening new paths for exploring the history of technology and our own limits in understanding the knowledge of ancient civilizations. Ancient stone tools in Brazil, made by monkeys. The Pedra Furada archaeological sites in northeastern Brazil have become a major flashpoint in the debate over the origins and evolution of tool-making skills in the Americas. Archaeologists uncovered hundreds of locations featuring ancient cultural layers, including stone tools, campfire remains, and rock art. Radiocarbon dating has revealed that some of these artifacts are up to 50,000 years old, far older than the widely accepted arrival of modern humans in the Americas, which is generally set around 16,000 years ago. This dating anomaly has prompted a scientific re-examination of the entire timeline of human migration and development in the Western Hemisphere. One of Pedra Furada's most distinctive features is the presence of multiple layers of stone debris, including rocks bearing clear marks of deliberate cracking and percussion. If these artifacts were made by humans, the accepted story of the Bering Land Bridge migration and the first arrival of Homo sapiens in South America would need to be rewritten. However, growing interdisciplinary research in archaeology, paleontology, and primatology has pointed to another possibility, that native primates, especially capuchin monkeys, may have created a significant share of these stone tools. Field observations of modern capuchin troops in South American forests show that these monkeys not only use stones as tools but also select the best rocks, learn from each other, and pass down these behaviors across generations. Capuchins use stones to crack hard-shelled fruits and nuts, and sometimes even to break open freshwater snails for food. Experiments comparing the markings on modern capuchin-made tools and archaeological finds from Pedra Furada reveal striking similarities in the structure of breakage, angles of impact, and types of stone chosen, making it increasingly difficult to distinguish between human and primate craftsmanship. From an evolutionary standpoint, the ability to create and use tools is no longer considered the exclusive domain of Homo sapiens or even ancient humans. Tool-making in capuchin monkeys shows that cognitive evolution can follow different branches, and that a primate's ability to use available materials for survival is a vivid example of animal intelligence. The presence of ancient workshops at Pedra Furada may reflect generations of capuchin experience, with skills passed down through social observation and imitation. This realization is pushing scientists to develop new criteria for distinguishing human-made from animal-made artifacts, and to rethink how we classify tools in prehistoric archaeology. Data on ancient ecology, fossil samples, evidence of ancient hearths, and the distribution of native primates will be key to unraveling the true origins of Pedra Furada's artifacts and to defining the intellectual boundary between humans and animals, a question at the very heart of our understanding of cognitive evolution. These findings are not only transforming our view of technological history, but also broadening our appreciation for the cultural development of prehistoric times. It is now possible that animal civilizations coexisted with, or even influenced, the evolutionary path of Homo sapiens, giving us a more layered and dynamic picture of how intelligence has arisen on Earth. Emperor Constantine and the truth about his faith. Emperor Constantine the Great is widely remembered as the first Roman emperor to convert to Christianity, laying the foundation for the faith to become the official religion of the empire. But this traditional view masks a complex web of politics, religion, and personal motivations that demand a closer look from both historical and archaeological perspectives. Constantine ascended the throne in 306 during a time of intense power struggles and shifting religious trends in the Roman Empire. According to Christian historians, the turning point in his spiritual journey was the Battle of the Milvian Bridge in 312. Before the battle, Constantine was said to have seen a shining cross in the sky and heard a message from God. This event supposedly led him to embrace Christianity as a means of seeking divine protection and legitimacy for his rule. However, many modern scholars have questioned whether this conversion was genuine. Contemporary documents and archaeological evidence reveal that Constantine continued to practice pagan rituals and venerate the sun god. In truth, Constantine's religious policy was one of deliberate synthesis. On one hand, he supported bishops and allowed the construction of churches, putting an end to Christian persecution. On the other hand, he still participated in rites, honoring Sol Invictus, the unconquered Sunday, a central deity in late 3rd century Roman belief. Many coins and temples from this era still bear the image of Sol and other pagan symbols, while traditional animal sacrifices persisted. These details reveal a strategy of balancing power and belief, shoring up his political authority as Christianity and the Church rose to new prominence. Notably, Constantine's faith was not limited to two opposing traditions. Influenced by Neoplatonism, he also believed in the immortality of the soul and the cycle of rebirth, common themes in Greco-Roman philosophy. This suggests that Constantine was blending various philosophical and religious elements to craft a belief system suited to his own transitional period of rule. The link between Sol Invictus and Christianity is even clearer in the choice of the 25th of December as the birthday of Jesus. Many researchers argue that this move was a strategic effort to align Roman public worship with the Church's new order. In the end, it becomes clear that Constantine's elevation of Christianity was not merely a product of personal faith, but rather the result of complex political and religious calculation. Pagan and Christian elements were continually intertwined, shaping the new face of Europe in the post-ancient world. Roman hot springs. Do they really heal? Located in the city of Bath in southwestern England, the system of natural hot springs once served as a vital center for culture and medicine in ancient Roman times. When the Romans conquered Britain in the 1st century, they quickly recognized the unique value of the hot water rising from deep underground, maintained at a steady temperature of around 40 degrees Celsius thanks to geothermal processes. Upon these springs, they constructed a complex of bathhouses and a temple dedicated to Sulis Minerva, establishing a renowned pilgrimage site, spa, and healing center for the empire. Local legends recall countless stories of miraculous healing attributed to bathing in and drinking the waters of Bath. Most famously, the tale of Prince Bladud, who was said to have been cured of leprosy in these waters before going on to become king. Over the centuries, such legends became woven into the cultural memory of England, appearing in ancient chronicles such as those by Geoffrey of Monmouth. However, the true value of the Bath hot springs was only confirmed when modern science began to investigate. Recent microbiological studies have found that the spring waters contain more than 300 species of bacteria, many of which can produce natural antibiotic compounds. Some of these bacteria are capable of inhibiting the growth of human pathogens such as E. coli, Staphylococcus, and various intestinal microbes. This goes some way toward explaining the historical reports of successful treatment of infectious diseases. In addition, the dissolved minerals in the bath waters play a supporting role, aiding metabolic processes and helping to restore bodily function. The combination of unique microorganisms and natural minerals creates a special environment that promotes tissue regeneration, soothes inflammation, and assists in the treatment of various metabolic disorders. This discovery not only affirms the true medicinal value of Roman heritage sites, but also opens up new avenues of research into using natural microorganisms for pharmaceutical development. Bath, once merely an archaeological relic, has become a symbol of the intersection between traditional healing and modern science. It proves that the ancients' understanding of nature was often based on deep observation and practical experience, far beyond what we might expect from their technological level. Legends, anomalies, and controversial archaeology. Many archaeological discoveries and legendary tales continue to defy scientific explanation and challenge our understanding of ancient history. Deep within the Andes Mountains of Peru stands the stone gate of Aramumuru, a massive structure carved directly into a cliff, shaped like a doorway to nowhere. The existence of this gate has sparked debate among archaeologists about its true purpose. Some theories claim it was a ceremonial center or an astronomical observatory of a pre-Inca culture, but local people have long passed down stories of a portal to another world, a place where gods travel between realms. On another continent, the Giza pyramids in Egypt remain at the center of modern exploration. Using cosmic scanning technology, scientists have detected multiple hidden voids within the millions of tons of stone, one of which is a long corridor above the main entrance, possibly connecting to a concealed chamber. These structures appear untouched since antiquity and are not mentioned in any known Egyptian records. The presence of as-yet unidentified spaces inside a structure built over 4,000 years ago continues to push the true purpose of the pyramids beyond the reach of modern science. In the deserts of America, a strange rock was found bearing deeply carved spiral motifs, strikingly similar to the crop circle designs that appeared in the 20th century. The rock's polished surface and the precision of the marks suggest the use of technology not easily explained by current science. While some claim the rock is the work of modern hands, others propose connections to unidentified phenomena beyond Earth. Turkey is home to a unique archaeological site, the Urfaman statue, dating back more than 11,000 years. The nearly life-sized figure, carved from a single block of stone and adorned with a heavy necklace, possesses features that go far beyond the known sculptural techniques of the Neolithic era. This has forced archaeologists to reconsider the development of prehistoric art and religion. In Ireland, the Newgrange tomb stands as a marvel of ancient engineering. Built more than 5,000 years ago, it consists of a single corridor leading to a central chamber. Most remarkable of all, sunlight penetrates to the heart of the tomb only at the moment of the winter solstice, a clear indication of the builder's deep astronomical knowledge. Yet the true function of Newgrange remains uncertain. Artifacts found inside suggest it was far more than a burial site, opening up the possibility that it served as a ceremonial space for sun worship rituals. On the Peruvian plateau, Chavin de Huantar has astonished archaeologists with the discovery of a secret ceremonial chamber deep beneath the main temple. Accessed by a hidden passageway, the chamber holds a single large stone bowl carved with the image of an Andean eagle. Such findings highlight the complexity of ceremonial life and architecture in Chavin culture and suggest the presence of a mysterious belief system with rituals reserved for the elite. In the rainforests of Central America, deep caves once served as the site of Mayan human sacrifice rituals to summon rain during drought. Archaeological research has revealed hundreds of skeletons and ceremonial objects made of gold and precious stones within these caves. Scientists have determined that these practices appeared during periods of crisis, reflecting a dramatic shift in religious thinking in response to environmental and social upheaval. Taken together, these discoveries spanning several continents capture not only the extraordinary achievements in ancient architecture and society, but also fuel ongoing debates about their origins, meanings, and even the possibility of supernatural forces or unknown civilizations. Each unexplained phenomenon is like an incomplete piece of the puzzle of human development, belief, and imagination, continuing to inspire new quests and discoveries in modern science. Surgical tools and skull drilling techniques in Peru. The tomb of a physician from Peru's Lambayeque culture has given archaeology a rare insight into the medical expertise of ancient South America. The artifacts unearthed here are not merely tools, they reflect organizational skill, medical thinking, and the broad range of practical applications found in this society. Among the most remarkable finds is a set of surgical instruments, including blades, needles, and metal spoons, some with shapes perfectly suited to intricate work on the human skull. Analysis of 2 frontal bone fragments found alongside the tools reveals that trepanation, or skull drilling, was performed to relieve pressure from injury or treat neurological illness. The evidence of bone healing around the drilled holes proves that many patients survived surgery, demonstrating that their medical knowledge was not only theoretical but highly effective in practice. Beyond healing, many of these instruments were also used in sacrificial rituals or for inducing altered states of consciousness. The overlap between these spheres shows how Lambayek people viewed the boundaries between medicine and society. With basic infection control techniques and a deep knowledge of cranial anatomy, ancient surgeons could perform complex skull operations with high survival rates, far surpassing the standards of many other civilizations of the same era. The discovery of these surgical tools and techniques in the Lambayek tomb also raises questions about the origins and diffusion of medical knowledge in the ancient world. Researchers believe that trepanation may have developed independently or been shared across communities in the Andes. The variety of instruments allowed for great flexibility in surgical technique, matching the diverse needs of ancient society. From a scientific standpoint, archaeological and anatomical evidence confirms both the real-world effectiveness and precision of these techniques. In terms of the history of science, this find demonstrates that ancient South American cultures reached high levels of social organization and possessed advanced medical skills, laying the groundwork for later progress in the story of humankind. The anomaly of giant waves. Early in 2024, global meteorological forecasting systems recorded a sequence of unusual wave oscillations in the seas off Antarctica. Between the frozen continent and the southern coasts of Africa, satellite imagery and online maps revealed abnormally high waves, many reaching over 24 meters, that formed in circular patterns before quickly shifting into crescent shapes. These wave structures displayed features that conventional ocean physics cannot easily explain. As soon as the phenomenon appeared, a wave of unproven theories spread about the true nature of these giant anomalies. Some suggested the waves were triggered by massive movements beneath the ocean floor, possibly related to unknown energy sources or substances. Other scenarios hinted at modern technological interventions, such as experimental devices, climate weapons, or even unidentified objects moving beneath the sea at speeds far exceeding those of any known submarine. Facing a surge of skepticism and online debate, meteorological experts largely pointed to technical errors in the automatic wave monitoring systems, suggesting that the phenomenon resulted from algorithm glitches or data synchronization failures between international observation stations. Yet, the reality was that these anomalous waves repeated several times in a single month and were reported by multiple independent data sources, leaving many observers unsatisfied with the official explanations. Notably, during the periods of anomaly, some weather radars recorded unusual echoes and wave directions, radiating outward from the center, instead of dispersing evenly according to normal ocean physics. Far from easing suspicions, these explanations only heightened international attention on Antarctica, a region long closed off to outsiders, where every unusual signal inspires speculation about hidden mysteries. Theories about secret bases and even extraterrestrial entities have continued to circulate in both scientific and paranormal communities. These debates create an endless cycle of questions about the unknown world beneath Antarctica's deep ice and frigid seas. As of now, there is no scientific confirmation of what caused these giant wave anomalies. The phenomenon stands as a prime example of the limits of human knowledge when facing nature, where each unusual event in the polar extremes can open the door to unexpected discoveries and fuel the imagination about secrets still buried in the southern oceans. Ancient earthquake-resistant walls. On Easter Island, enormous megalithic walls stand at the archaeological site of Aho Vinapu, distinguished by a method of stone construction that even today raises questions for modern engineers. The walls here are built from large basalt blocks, fitted so precisely together that not even a thin knife blade can slip between the seams. This design is able to withstand powerful earthquakes in a region often shaken by geological activity. What makes this even more remarkable is that the same construction techniques are found in Peru, especially in the ancient walls of Sacsayhuaman high in the Andes. Here, stone blocks weighing dozens of tons were expertly cut and joined with a durability that has lasted through the ages. Both sites share not only similar construction styles and techniques, but also special features such as multi-layered walls and wave-shaped designs meant to maximize stability and dissipate seismic energy. The architectural similarities between these civilizations, separated by thousands of miles and with no clear evidence of direct contact, have led to speculation about the spread of technology or even the existence of a lost prehistoric culture with advanced building knowledge. Some theorize that these earthquake-resistant methods arose from direct observation of natural disasters, while others lean toward the idea that such engineering heritage may be the result of transoceanic contact or the legacy of a once influential culture that spanned the Pacific and South America. Beyond technical skill, these walls also reflect the systematic thinking and collective organization of ancient communities, from quarrying and transporting massive stones to their shaping and assembly. Each structure combines a deep understanding of natural materials, applied mathematics in spatial geometry, and seismic engineering skills that modern civilizations have only recently begun to approach on a large scale. Studying ancient earthquake-resistant walls not only sheds light on the mysteries of cultural exchange, but also offers new approaches for material science and construction engineering today as humanity continues to confront geological challenges in urban planning and world heritage conservation. The hydraulic telegraph of ancient Greece. The hydraulic telegraph system of ancient Greece stands as a remarkable fusion of physical science and organizational thinking, marking one of the earliest milestones in the history of human telecommunications. Against the backdrop of protracted warfare and the pressing need to relay commands rapidly across great distances, Greek military engineers devised a signaling mechanism based on synchronization and the ability to overcome the challenges posed by difficult terrain. The system's operating principle was precise. On two distant hilltops, each station would set up a water container with a vertical wooden rod. Marked along the rod were pre-encoded symbols or messages, perhaps the names of locations or vital military orders. To begin transmission, both the sender and receiver would use a torch or fire signal to synchronize the timing of opening their water valves. At the sight of the light, both operators would open the valves and let the water flow out. As the water level reached a certain pre-marked symbol, the sender would immediately lower the torch as a signal to stop, and both would close their valves simultaneously. Because the timing was perfectly synchronized, the intended message was always relayed with accuracy and without confusion. The system's main limitation was that each cycle could only send a single, preset encoded message. Yet this method proved far more reliable than oral messengers or simple smoke signals, which suffered from long delays and frequent errors. Historians, such as Polybius, documented the practical uses of the hydraulic telegraph during the Punic Wars, allowing Greek and Roman commanders to make timely decisions in the heat of battle. This mechanism demonstrates that ancient Greeks possessed a clear understanding of fluid dynamics, as well as the ability to coordinate devices over long distances with precise timing. Operationally, transmitting a message required both stations to adhere strictly to procedures and to ensure that messages were uniformly coded in advance to avoid any miscommunication. The combination of hydraulic engineering and coded messaging set the foundation for the later development of mechanical and electronic forms of communication in Western science. The scientific significance of the hydraulic telegraph extends beyond military applications. The very principle of synchronization inspired developments in mathematics and collective information management. The system is an early example of how humans applied natural knowledge to solve complex social problems. In reality, the concept of synchronizing and transmitting data using fluid or flow dynamics has been used in many other fields, from machinery to water management infrastructure. Historically, the advent of the hydraulic telegraph is proof of the technical prowess and scientific mindset of ancient Greece, and it highlights the role of technological innovation in the advancement of civilization. Even after thousands of years, this foundational idea continues to inspire future generations, laying the groundwork for humanity's ever-advancing systems of communication across space and time. Ancient Chinese cooling technology, the skywell. In the history of Chinese architecture, the skywell, known as ging trai in Vietnamese, is a deeply practical invention, representing a harmonious blend of environmental understanding and traditional construction. Popular from the Ming through Qing dynasties, the skywell served not only as a natural source of daylight, but also as an ingenious solution for microclimate control, protecting inhabitants from extreme weather. The skywell's structure is typically found at the center of a house, either as a small courtyard or an open shaft running from the roof to the ground, with 3 walls enclosing it and one side open, connecting to adjacent rooms. This design takes advantage of air convection. Hot, light air rises and escapes through the skywell, drawing in cooler air from below or from surrounding rooms. This constant air circulation helps maintain a stable indoor temperature, greatly reducing discomfort during the summer heat. Compared to modern cooling systems that depend on electricity, such as air conditioners or electric fans, the skywell offers sustainable comfort without energy dependence. Studies have shown that traditional houses with skywells are typically 5 to 10 degrees Celsius cooler than the outside air, and during severe heat waves, the difference can reach up to 15 degrees. This means that even during power outages, these old homes provide a comfortable living environment and protect residents from the harsh effects of a humid subtropical climate. The skywell also optimizes natural light, reducing the need for artificial lighting during the day, while improving air quality by facilitating airflow that removes dust and humidity. Beyond its practical benefits, the skywell has special cultural significance as a place where people connect with nature, maintaining daily balance and forming the setting for traditional family rituals in East Asian households. Amidst today's climate change and energy challenges, architectural solutions like the skywell are increasingly valuable. They reflect indigenous knowledge of the environment and atmospheric physics, inspiring modern architects to pursue sustainable designs for rapidly urbanizing futures. The revival of these ancient principles in contemporary architecture is powerful evidence of the lasting value of ancient wisdom. The Ice Pyramid. Hidden deep within Antarctica's Ellsworth Mountains, a striking pyramid-shaped formation rises above the endless white, a structure that has captured the curiosity of both scientists and enthusiasts of unexplained mysteries. Satellite images clearly reveal the straight edges, forming a shape uncannily similar to a perfect pyramid standing out amid the ice. This unique feature has sparked lively debates across global forums, drawing interest from serious researchers and lovers of unsolved riddles alike. Geologists classify the formation as the result of a nunatak, a mountain peak or rocky outcrop that protrudes above the ice sheet. They explain that millions of years of tectonic activity, together with wind, fluctuating temperatures, and the slow grinding movement of glaciers, have carved out sharp ridges and flattened surfaces. Similar rock forms exist elsewhere in the world, but the near-perfect pyramid in Ellsworth continues to spark debate. While the geological explanation is thorough, a variety of alternative theories have flourished on social media. Some believe the pyramid is a relic of a lost civilization, predating Antarctica's icy cover. Others speculate that its nearly flawless shape is a sign of intelligent design or even evidence of extraterrestrial visitors. The key question remains unresolved. If Ellsworth's structure is simply a natural product, why do pyramid-shaped formations appear in so many different locations around the globe? Is there a cross-continental connection behind the pyramid motif, one that transcends the boundaries of geography and time? To this day, scientific teams face daunting obstacles in accessing the structure due to harsh Antarctic conditions. For geologists, the Ice Pyramid is a dramatic example of natural evolution. For those who believe in lost civilizations or extraterrestrial intervention, its sharp lines remain a symbol of mysteries still hidden beneath Antarctica's eternal ice. Mysterious pyramids across the world. When surveying the world's ancient civilizations, the pyramid appears again and again in distant places with no clear cultural connection. From the Nile Valley's Egyptian pyramids to Sudan's desert hills, and even in Southeast Asia, this architectural form plays a prominent role in the sacred and social landscapes of each civilization. Egypt's pyramids have long stood as the supreme example of ancient engineering, yet Sudan actually boasts more than 200 pyramids, outnumbering those in Egypt. In China, earth-covered pyramids have been discovered in Shaanxi province, many rivaling Giza's Great Pyramid in size, though they remain little studied. Central America features the massive pyramid complexes of the Maya and Aztec civilizations, while Southeast Asia is home to sites like Borobudur in Java, famous for their multi-layered, highly symbolic design. Although their uses may differ, the similarities in shape, arrangement, and proportions among these pyramids have led scholars to question the origins of the knowledge and technology shared across cultures. Modern theories suggest that the pyramid may have emerged as an optimal structure for bearing weight, conserving energy, or producing special physical effects related to natural energy fields. From a scientific standpoint, modern experimental pyramids are now being built to test these hypotheses. Ukrainian physicist Alexander Golod is one of the pioneers in constructing synthetic pyramids, more than 17 in total, with the largest reaching 44 meters high. After years of measurement and experimentation, Golod has reported biological and physical effects near the pyramids, such as boosting immune systems, increasing crop yields, reducing seismic activity, and even influencing local atmospheric fields. Other experimental results have shown changes in radioactivity, antibacterial effectiveness, and even enhanced psychological stability in living organisms near the pyramids. Meanwhile, physical measurements of energy concentration and dispersion at the pyramid center and apex are opening new lines of inquiry into the relationship between architecture and Earth's natural energy fields. While many of these pyramid effect theories remain unproven and require more evidence, such findings have expanded the field of research from traditional archaeology into interdisciplinary territory. The spread of the pyramid form across continents not only demonstrates the creative thinking of ancient peoples, but also raises intriguing questions about the potential application of ancient technology in today's science, especially as modern researchers revisit mysteries once thought to belong only to the distant past. The mysterious megalithic walls of Peru, rising over 12,000 feet above sea level on the Cusco Plateau. The fortress of Sacsayhuaman is one of South America's most spectacular megalithic monuments. Its most striking feature is a system of 3 contiguous walls, forming a continuous defensive line nearly 900 meters long. The true marvel lies in the basalt and limestone blocks, some weighing over 120 tons, fitted together without mortar or any binding agent. Each stone is uniquely shaped, with edges polished so precisely that not even a thin knife can slip between them. Seen from above, the 3 walls trace a complex, undulating pattern like a giant serpent, an image that many archaeologists believe reflects the power symbols and cosmology of the Inca or even earlier Andean cultures. This design suggests that the builders carefully planned construction using both a keen understanding of the terrain and advanced 3-dimensional thinking, resulting in earthquake-resistant structures, an essential feature in this seismically active region. Intriguingly, archaeological evidence indicates that the oldest sections of the walls may predate the Inca Empire, potentially linked to the Quilque culture or an even more ancient, unidentified civilization. This has sparked debate. Was Sacsayhuaman built entirely by the Inca, or did they inherit and expand upon an engineering masterpiece that had already stood for centuries? Even Spanish colonial records acknowledge that local people could not explain how such massive stones were transported and assembled. To this day, the methods used to construct Sacsayhuaman remain a mystery. The fortress stands as both a symbol of religious and political authority, and as a testament to the extraordinary technical skills of one or perhaps several ancient Andean civilizations, raising profound questions about the history of construction technology in pre-modern South America. The wicked women of the Bible. Throughout biblical history, several female figures have become symbols of betrayal and power, leaving an indelible mark on religious tradition and Western cultural lore. Names like Delilah, Jezebel, and Salome stand not merely as individuals, but as representations of the complex roles, influence, and far-reaching consequences of women's actions within the fabric of the ancient world. Delilah stands as the archetype of seduction and deception, her story found in the Book of Judges. Enticed by the Philistine rulers, she sought the secret of Samson's extraordinary strength. Through intimacy and persistent questioning, Delilah gradually won Samson's trust, ultimately coaxing him to reveal that his power resided in his hair. As he slept, Delilah arranged for his hair to be cut, leading to his capture and imprisonment. This story goes beyond mere personal betrayal, serving as a cautionary tale about the dangers of misplaced trust. Jezebel, whose story is woven through the books of Kings, became an enduring emblem of power and defiance against tradition. As the daughter of the king of Phoenicia, Jezebel married King Ahab of Israel, introducing the worship of the foreign god Baal into the Israelite kingdom. Her actions sparked violent conflict with the prophets and a period of deep religious turmoil. Jezebel's incitement of violence against those who worshipped Yahweh left a heavy legacy, transforming her into the archetype of the evil queen in the minds of later generations. Salome emerges in the New Testament, directly linked to the death of John the Baptist. The daughter of Herodias, Salome performed a dance before King Herod Antipas. As her reward, Salome requested the head of John the Baptist. This infamous request led to one of the most notorious executions in biblical history and established Salome as a symbol of the manipulation of power through personal allure. These women, different in origin and motive, share a common trait. Each dramatically altered the course of history and religious legend. They are prime examples of how female power and influence, when entwined with the forces of society and belief, can produce outcomes far beyond their initial intentions. From the viewpoint of historical analysis and social science, the stories of Delilah, Jezebel, and Salome reflect the intersection of faith and politics and provoke questions about how women are judged and understood within traditional systems of value. Christian symbolism in tarot cards. The history of the tarot traces back to medieval Europe, where these cards first appeared as an entertaining game with no mystical or astrological associations. The earliest decks, crafted in 15th century Italy, were custom-made for nobles, adorned with intricate hand-painted artwork. From the beginning, the imagery and symbols on tarot cards revealed the influence of Christian art and mythology, portraying saints, angels, priests, and numerous religious themes. By the 18th century, under the sway of French mysticism, tarot began to transform from a pastime into a tool for fortune-telling and fate prediction. Occult scholars like Jean-Baptiste Alliette assigned new, esoteric meanings to each card, linking them to Western mysteries, especially alchemy, astrology, and Christian theology. Many original Christian symbols remained, such as the High Priestess, inspired by the Virgin Mary, or the Lovers, connected to the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The greatest turning point arrived in the 19th and early 20th centuries, when secret societies, such as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, took center stage in the development of tarot. These groups, comprised of scholars and occultists, actively redesigned the entire tarot system, infusing it with mystical meanings and connecting it to the Kabbalah and Christian philosophy. In 1909, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, created by two leading members of the order, became the modern standard, its Christian imagery either revised or encoded within a framework of esoteric thought. Thus, tarot today is a fusion of many layers of symbolism. Christianity remains both a foundational source of artistic inspiration and a wellspring for new interpretation, allowing later generations to adapt and expand its meanings into other mystical traditions. Tarot cards have evolved from a simple game into a multi-layered symbolic system, mirroring the complex interplay between religion, art, and spirituality across centuries of European history. The mysterious architecture and technology of ancient India. In the history of India, the Hoysaleshwara temple stands as a prime example of the extraordinary advancements in construction and stone carving achieved by this ancient civilization. Built nearly 1,000 years ago, the temple emerged during the golden era of the Hoysala dynasty, one of South India's most powerful empires from the 10th to the 14th centuries. Despite the passage of centuries, the temple's architecture continues to raise difficult questions about the level of technology once available to its builders. A close look at the stone pillars and reliefs reveals astonishingly sharp and consistent lines. In particular, many stone surfaces display markings uncannily similar to those produced by modern mechanical lathes. Some experts argue that such precision would have required engine-powered tools, far beyond what hammers and chisels alone could achieve. Yet, no archaeological evidence has ever confirmed the existence of machinery in 11th century India, so the idea of lost or even out-of-place technology has gained growing attention. One especially intriguing feature is a series of carvings depicting objects that resemble mechanical gears, two concentric circles lined with evenly spaced teeth, linked by pegs in a design still common in engineering today. If these truly represent gears, it would suggest an early understanding of mechanical transmission principles. Other carvings show Hindu deities holding objects almost identical to modern rotary drill bits devices, central to today's stone carving industry. While these features could be explained as symbolic or coincidental, they nevertheless fuel debate over whether ancient India accessed technical knowledge never recorded by contemporary science. Equally mysterious are the temple's depictions of figures resembling modern astronauts' large, round helmet-like heads and protective-looking hand coverings. Although the lower body is rendered more simply, researchers note a striking similarity to present-day spacesuits. Some scholars connect these images to legends of the Vimana, the flying craft of the Hindu gods, described in epic tales like the Mahabharata and Ramayana. The notion of space travel and encounters with beings from other worlds is deeply embedded in Indian myth, and it seems to find vivid expression in the temple's stone reliefs. Drawing from both physical evidence and symbolic art, the theory of advanced technology in ancient India extends beyond archaeology, touching on comparative studies of myth, religion, and the broader history of civilization. Every detail on the walls and pillars of Hoysaleshwara temple raises new questions about ancient knowledge, creativity, and the possibility of human interaction with sources of wisdom still unknown. As a result, the site remains at the center of international scholarly debate and continues to kindle the imagination with mysteries yet unsolved. Vikings may have discovered the Azores before the Portuguese. Set in the Atlantic Ocean, the Azores archipelago is today recognized as a territory of Portugal, but the island's past holds secrets that go far beyond the traditional record. For centuries, European chronicles claimed that the Azores were discovered in the 15th century by the first Portuguese explorers. Yet, recent genetic research has revealed a very different story. DNA analysis of house mice on the Azores shows origins not from Portugal, but rather a match with populations in Scandinavia, raising the possibility that Vikings set foot on these islands as early as the 8th or 9th centuries. Sediment cores drawn from ancient lakes on the Azores bolster this theory. The soils reveal chemical traces left by human activity, livestock manure, wood, ash, and changes in plant pollen that point to farming and small settlements. These layers are centuries older than the arrival of the Portuguese, closely matching the period when Viking fleets expanded across the North Atlantic. House mice could only have arrived with people, and their genetic traces remain as living memories of seafaring expeditions never recorded in official histories. The Vikings are famed for their voyages across the North Atlantic, having reached the Faroe Islands, Iceland, Greenland, and even North America. Evidence of their presence in the Azores expands our understanding of their migration and discovery routes much further south than previously believed. Far from the cold northern seas, the Vikings may have braved a new climate, testing new survival strategies on volcanic islands, far from any mainland. While no Viking architecture or artifacts have yet been found, the genetic and geochemical findings provide convincing evidence of Scandinavian influence in the Azores. The story of house mice and ancient lake sediments forces a complete reassessment of Viking long-distance exploration. It invites us to rethink trade routes, cultural exchange, and the spread of navigation skills throughout the medieval Atlantic. Each new discovery, from the smallest mouse to a core of lakebed mud, helps reveal the lost chapters of Europe's past, expanding the boundaries of ancient maritime civilization. The Vikings' presence in the Azores is no longer a mere hypothesis. It has become a vital link connecting the distant past with the world we know today. The Green Sahara. Around 11,000 years ago, the vast expanse we know today as the Sahara Desert looked nothing like the arid, windswept landscape we see now. Geological surveys, along with the analysis of fossil pollen and sediment, show that this region was once a rich, diverse ecosystem, watered by abundant rainfall and traversed by rivers for thousands of years. The Sahara was once blanketed in savannas, open woodlands, wetlands, and freshwater lakes. Herds of large mammals and antelope roamed across grasslands, while migratory birds arrived in flocks, and freshwater fish thrived in rivers and lakes that have since disappeared beneath drifting sand. In this favorable environment, bands of hunter-gatherers settled near water sources, using stone tools for hunting and food preparation, and creating detailed rock art that testifies to their careful observation of the world around them. Archaeological discoveries at Tassili Naja and elsewhere have revealed evidence of temporary shelters, animal bones, and countless artifacts, reflecting the level of social organization. There is proof that these first Saharan settlers developed pottery, raised livestock, and even built small-scale irrigation systems to preserve water year-round. In later periods, the growing ties between Saharan peoples and communities along the Nile and West Africa are evident in the appearance of shared artistic motifs and architectural techniques. Around 8,000 years ago, a shift in the Earth's axial tilt changed the monsoon patterns. Rainfall declined steadily, lakes began to dry up, vegetation retreated, and large mammals dwindled. Villages were forced to abandon the increasingly barren land. Many migrated toward the Nile Valley, the Mediterranean coast, or southward to remaining forests, carrying with them memories of a once thriving Sahara. Beneath the deep sands remain mysterious stone structures, pottery fragments, and traces of ancient herding and farming. Some theories suggest the existence of large-scale ruins, possibly pyramids, sphinxes, or ritual sites for worship and trade, now buried under the relentless movement of desert dunes. Reconstructing the Sahara's green past does more than enrich our understanding of human adaptability in the face of changing climates. It compels researchers to reevaluate the region's importance in the rise of major civilizations. If a complex, organized society truly thrived in the prehistoric heart of the Sahara, then much of what we assume about the spread of technology, culture, and connections across Africa must be reconsidered from the ground up. The four beasts of Daniel's prophecy. In the Bible, Daniel's vision of four beasts is a powerful symbol reflecting ancient ideas of political power and the changing tides of civilization. These creatures were not just figments of the imagination, but metaphors for four great empires that once ruled the world, each one foreshadowing a transfer of power and even hinting at the end of days. According to the account, Daniel saw four beasts rise from the sea. The first was a lion with eagle's wings, representing the overwhelming might of the Babylonian Empire. When its wings were plucked, the beast was lifted up to stand like a man, signaling a transformation of power and consciousness within the dynasty. The second beast was a bear, leaning to one side, with 3 ribs in its mouth. This image stood for the Medo-Persian alliance, 2 merged empires that expanded their control through military conquest, taking over 3 major regions. The 3 ribs symbolized the territories subdued. The third beast, a leopard with 4 wings and 4 heads, represented the Greek Empire under Alexander the Great. After Alexander's death, his kingdom split into 4 regions, each ruled by a general. The 4 heads and the beast's speed reflected Greek power, brief but far-reaching. The fourth beast was the most haunting of all, unlike any known animal. With iron teeth, bronze claws, and 10 sharp horns, it crushed everything in its path, an image of the Roman Empire's absolute might and brutality. The 10 horns alluded to the kings or allied nations that emerged in the empire's final days, laying the groundwork for speculation about an antichrist force in the apocalypse. These 4 beasts symbolize more than the rise and fall of great empires. They express the ever-changing nature of power, the uncertainty of human history, and the cycle of endings and renewals. From a historical perspective, these images illustrate the development of political and religious consciousness in ancient societies, while also inviting deeper interpretation of humanity's destiny amid the world's constant upheaval. If you find these mysterious stories fascinating, please share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any of our upcoming discoveries. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.